Good day, friends. I hope you're doing really well. This is Tracy Brown, and my team and I of non-diet, trauma-informed dietitians provide a safe space, relative safe as much as we can, to help you feel safe in your own system and to be your own food and body expert. So you know when you put on a coat you had from last year and you find a $20 bill? Well, that's how my morning has been. I found this little nugget of a PowerPoint presentation I did in 2010 maybe, and I was thinking I have found a gold mine in terms of I would really love to repurpose this and use this again because there's some really good stuff in here. And it's just like, yeah, I can't believe I forgot about it. I literally did this presentation one time, and I think because I was kind of early in my career, I started doing counseling in 2006, started kind of eking out and doing some talks. A couple years later, I was like petrified. So I literally probably did this presentation and I was so faked out. I probably just bolted and never remembered it. But this morning I was looking through, I'm actually preparing some slides for a trauma-informed talk that I'm doing end of this week out of town. I was like, I need to bring one of those flash drives just in case something gets messed up with other people's emails. We don't have access to it. So I pulled out my little flash drive from, obviously this thing's 15 years old. And voila, this old presentation was on this from 2010. Then I'm like, I need to repurpose this to kind of update the research and maybe some of the images to match, I guess, this generation's current body image influencers that impact our distortion. And so in today's video, I'm going to talk a little bit about where did all this distortion come from? All right. And I want to say, distortion has always been around. There's always been some body, some group that wanted to capitalize on people's inherent desire to belong, and to feel like just some level of acceptance, worth, value, love. Those are inherent human needs. And the way to try to profit off that is create something that isn't real to throw people off what really matters and what we really value, of course, which is belonging for who we really are. But if that doesn't make money, we've got to make people think that the way they are is, what's the right word? Is not valuable, is not okay, and that creates a distortion. So remember, that's been around forever, probably since the beginning of time, when somebody decided they need to run a hustle to get money and power, right? And here we are still dealing with this forever ago, later, all right? So I'm just looking at the slides ahead of me here, and I wanted to read off a couple of these because I am going to repurpose this whole slide deck because it's like, whoa, did I really do this stuff? So how do we get all this distortion? So I'm just going to put it as who we have contact with. We don't know who's really running this at higher levels, right? But I'll just say marketers and advertisers. I'll just put it that way because that's who is influencing the people who influence us. So if we're old enough and we're consuming media and we don't have a strong anchor of internal locus to control, like meaning we know who we are regardless of like what's fashionable, what's cool, or whatever. If when we don't have that fully installed throughout our childhood and get to adulthood, we're going to be influenced around whatever systems of belonging are around us, right? So that's the reason why some people can see current body and fashion trends and be like, I'm not doing that. Like, oof, that looks like a nightmare. Even if everybody oohs and ahs over it, I ain't doing it. That's the difference between people who can do that and other people who feel like, I look similar to that, and people are telling me I look similar to so and so. If I just change this, then feeling like you're prey to that. All right, so that's the difference. Internal locus and control means, again, you have this sense inside of a secure home base for when you do have adversity, of remembering who you are, and you can walk out life beyond that without feeling like you've got to betray yourself to be okay. All right, so anyway, how do advertisers and marketers do this, and how do they influence us as children through our the people who raise us, and then as adults, depending on what our locus to control is, and again, that if we have that installation of I know who I am inside enough, that will vary, right? So here are some of the jobs of marketers and influencers and advertisers. Here's some of the tenets of this that I put on the slide. And again, I'm going to keep this. This is gold here. But it says a transfer of guilt must be achieved. And I know where all this came from. This came from Naomi Wolf's book, The Beauty Myth. Okay, so a transfer of guilt must be achieved. We must capitalize on the programming that we already put out there that says that you have a wrong body. So there first has to be like this this imagery and this messaging that there's a right body to have. So if you don't have that body, by default, you have the wrong body. So as soon as they've created enough belief in us that we have, that there's a right body, then we'll look at ourselves in the mirror like, oh, I got the wrong one. Look at that. And then boom, there's the capitalization on that. So capitalize on guilt for the wrong body. And then push this for your own good kind of stuff. Stress the therapeutic value of working on the body. You'll feel good about yourself. You'll have more confidence. You'll have more self-esteem. Your clothes will fit better. The worst thing ever could happen, right, is you have to buy new clothes. It's so funny because it's like, you don't want to have to buy new clothes. But yeah, on the other end, it's like, well, buy new clothes, right? So it's stressful. But yeah, again, so I'll repeat that. Stress the therapeutic value of working on the body. You'll feel good about yourself. I've been told that personally. I've been told that not just about my body, but about my teeth. I've literally went to a dentist that said like, wow, you'll have more self-confidence. You get veneers on those front ones to, fix that stuff, which by the way was created by some other scheme. But anyway, won't go there. And then give the person a sense of achievement to compensate for an endless and time-consuming task, starving and joyless exercise. So program people to give other people, yay, good for you, as the little bit of reward you get for starving yourself and suppressing your needs and moving in a way that doesn't bring any intrinsic value. Just, you weigh less and good for you. So I'm just putting all that out there to say that like we need more remembrance of the reality of the programming and the jobs of marketers and advertisers in diet culture. We need to remember the tactics so that when we see the tactics, we are not going to be surprised. We're going to be way less likely to fall prey to it, even if it comes in a health and wellness package. And lastly, if you know that you've been programmed, just like, you know what, it's not my fault. Like that was done to me and I didn't have enough protection to not let it sink in. And that's most of us. So there's no shame, there's no guilt for like, I should have known better. I should have been smart enough. I even knew it as a teenager. I sensed there was something like bait and switch yucky about it. And I still just felt the pressure building so much in relationships that I felt like I just had to give in. So, I had to deal with the shame and like feeling weak even about that. So if you're in those positions, step one, and we'll talk about it more in the next video, but I just want to give you some reassurance, is that our brains we know about neuroplasticity. Our brains can learn new things. The more we follow the new neurobiology, the old stuff gets to kind of atrophy and eventually fade into the background and to be reabsorbed literally as organic matter, which is great news. And we can learn how to be resilient because we can't make this go away necessarily. I think it's one of those, you be a ripple and let your ripple be out. And the more grounded you are in who you are, the less likely that, I'm not saying never, but the less likely we're going to get tricked by these same schemes or different versions of these schemes, because there's never anything new. It's always just some kind of rehash, maybe slightly new languaging, all that kind of stuff. All right, I hope you enjoyed this video. Please, this is very vital information. Please share this with people that you know that just need to keep following the same old potholes. There's an old analogy story out there about like, you're walking on the road and you fall in a pothole, and then you learn there's potholes on the road, and but you fall into the next pothole, and over time we learn to identify that this road has potholes. I need to be on the lookout. Eventually you learn how to go around them. And so this is what this message is about. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed it, let me know, and be on the lookout. I don't know how long it's going to take me. I do hope to get this done fall and do like a fun little webinar and have you all ask your questions. But I want to repurpose this. I think it's really important. And here's to finding those $20 bills in your old coat. So thank you so much. And I'll talk to you next time. Bye.